It. Yay. Amazing. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm Rep Kari, and this is our morning meditation. And we are going to be syncing up with today. We're doing a couple meditations of some goddess energy just to get us reoriented, reconnected to the mythology, to the divine feminine, to the ways in which it ebbs and flows and rolls through our life. And hopefully, for each of you, you're able to find different openings and aspects or remembrances. Maybe it's been a while for you since you've connected with any of these incredible divine feminine energies. We are kicking off with Isis. That is her, from the first time I ever did Isis meditation, that is her imagery behind me there. And she's staring down the snake, right? She's staring down adversity, the projections, and ultimately, Isis is here to take all of the broken pieces that make up who we are and assemble them into one cohesive whole. So I'm gonna tell her story as we go through the meditation today. So go ahead, closing your eyes, taking a nice deep breath in and exhaling out. And another nice deep breath in. And let's go ahead and do our light link, sending your consciousness up to the sun. And as you do, let yourself, Isis is, of course, of the Egyptian pantheon. So let yourself drift into that sun and let it carry you today. Let it already begin to carry you to the beyond. Maybe you find yourself as you settle in the sands of Egypt, amongst the pyramids. Maybe you find yourself under a palm tree or in a garden. Slowly let it enter. And if nothing's coming through, just keep focusing on the sun. Imagining the sun above, warming your face. Really get into your body as you connect to the sun. Let your body guide you deeper and deeper and deeper. And feeling your way through the sun as it warms itself, as it melts into your body, its beautiful light. Feeling your way down ultimately to your feet. And as your feet connect with the earth, taking your time, slowly, 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 feeling that connection to the earth. As you feel it, noticing what your feet are standing upon. Notice if you begin to imagine the air differently than how it is now. And continuing to breathe. And so we find ourselves now fully immersed in this Egyptian scenery, whether it's the sands beneath your feet or a hard stone or a cool temple floor. Let your imagination bring you to this incredible space. As we bring ourselves to Isis and her world and her dimension, she was sister to Set, and Set was jealous of Isis's husband. And so before you, go ahead and imagine standing in midst or within a temple space and a beautiful tree rising out of the temple, in the center of the temple rising out. And feel yourself connecting to this tree. Or within this tree, upon Set's jealousy and desire, he imprisoned Osiris Isis's husband, who he was so jealous of. And so, really, all you need to be focusing on now is allowing your energy to be immersed within the story as you drift all the way into your body. Feeling the light, maybe gazing at your fingers as they touch the tree. Again, focusing your feet upon the earth beneath you. We're going to go on a journey, an adventure today, and in the process, work and run some of the energy that is here right now. We're just tuning in, letting ourselves be immersed in this frequency. For Isis is the Divine Mother, but each of us has different relationship and connection to what that means. And so, in understanding her powers, her magic, her potency, through our own visions and whatever sensations and emotions rise up for you today, let that be her awakening and reawakening, a rekindling of her flame, her consciousness, a strengthening within you. So her story is long, and this tree, she found herself here within Set's home, where he originally imprisoned Osiris in a coffin that then was transformed. And as they wander, as we see ourselves wandering around, we know that Isis became a slave, a maid within this household. And upon finding out that he had been discovered, and upon praying for resolution, upon finding out that Isis had discovered Osiris was in the tree and discovering that she was within the household, Set became enraged and, of course, had the tree cut down. And it was his way of scattering the body to the 14 corners of the world. And in her heartache and in her desperation, Isis went to the shores of the river Nile and hid. So it's this scene now that I want you to find yourself standing upon the shores of the great river. Maybe you feel your feet sinking into the muddy sand at the shore. Maybe you can feel the wisp of the reeds brushing against your skin as they blow in the breeze. Our story is one in this moment of separation, of disconnection, of heartache, of loss. And it's not dissimilar to our own human journey of separation, moving to the other side of the veil where we cannot find the unified self. And so Isis deemed that this was no longer the life she chose to live. She believed so powerfully in her love, her connection, that she set out upon the world to reclaim Osiris so she could piece him back together. And ironically enough, she was helped, and in partnership with Osiris's lover, Nepthesis, and the two women ventured the world. In this moment, in our lives and where we are, is it so dissimilar to Isis's journey as we set out to piece things together, to heal, to mend, to make connection with certain parts of our soul, to be curious about, as I like to say, to pull on certain threads to see what we can unravel. As we feel Isis preparing here for her journey, I want you first to feel those elements of Osiris as though you are Isis. Golden light scattered around the world. And while for her it was her masculine, right? Her lover, husband, partner, for each of us, it's aspects of ourselves where we've gone to battle, where we've gone to war, where we've set aside or withdrawn in a way of being that we were. And so as you make this journey, my invitation in this moment to you is to allow yourself to imagine drifting without having a real geographical connection to it, but to drift through the dimensions of this planet and this matrix, and allow yourself to call in the strongest, the most powerful aspects of your divine masculine that have been wounded, that have been cut off and left behind, or imprisoned or locked down. And the way you may experience this is by just simply imagining a pocket of golden light, one at a time, and journeying towards it. And as you find the one pocket, you gather that in to your heart, and you raise your head to the horizon and dimensionally zoom to the next. And maybe there's memory associated with it, of where each of these spots could be that we're collecting today. And maybe there's not. And that's okay, because it is showing you where you need to be, where you need to go. So collecting the next orb of golden light that you encounter. And if a scene begins to unfold of a memory of this lifetime or past, just allowing yourself to bless it with love as you imagine whatever traumas or feel connected to whatever traumas may have ensued. And as we move to the next, taking a breath in, we're going for all 14. And the next. Notice how you maybe dimensionally shift into greater degrees of density, meaning the golden light no longer looks like it could be in some scene, but is in darkness, buried, maybe at the bottom of a well, or hidden deep within the recesses of a cave. Moving to the next. And the next, surging, allowing yourself to be just drawn like a magnet to these orbs of golden light. Calling upon your angels, should you need them, calling upon Isis. And to the next, we're at our halfway point. Go ahead now from this perspective and gaze upon the earth, knowing as you can envision where these orbs of light have been, maybe a map that if we were to trace a line between each of them would create a certain pattern. And then seeing that line and imagining it, or seeing the remaining 7 orbs of golden light and imagining them being connected to that line. As you call the remaining 7 in to you, moving at dimensional speed, the 8th and the 9th, and the 10th. And as we arrive at these next two, we find ourselves connecting to aspects that were held back by the DNA, our DNA not being able to fully express itself, bottlenecks where the lineage was truncated. So we call in the 11th and the 12th and the 13th. And the last, the 14th. Absorbing them all into your heart and finding yourself now back on the shores of the Nile. And if that's too big of a jump, you can stay where you are in the moment, allowing each of these parts, Osiris and yourself, to be assembled, puzzle pieces fitting together. As Isis assembled his body, laying it out prone with all of the pieces except for his member. It was through that that she fashioned creation and the creation force within her to become reunited with Osiris. And so my invitation to you is to envision the masculine, whether it's in the form of Osiris or the Christed light, to envision the masculine, to feel it like a snake weaving its way, Kundalini snake, weaving its way through your body, through that masculine channel, up through your foot, around right foot, around the shin and the knees and the hip, and then following that pattern of the caduceus that snakes its way in a half of a figure eight pattern up to the top of the mind. As we take in the divine masculine in new ways, as we allow it to reprogram our inner core. As you breathe in and out here, exhaling, receiving, and preparing for the birth of the Christed light within you. For it was through their union in that moment that the divine masculine returned, as promised, to the lands of Egypt through Isis, through her womb of creation. Spirit manifest into form. She hid within the shores of the Nile, giving birth to Horus. Knowing he too would be hunted, she sought to protect and hid him until it was his time. And he could bring all of us, all of our hearts, back to light and back to love. So my invitation for you is to gaze back at the sun. Horus's story is that of the Christed story, is that of the masculine rebirthed anew, brought into form through the earthly dimension. So as you feel yourself now standing wherever you find yourself, imagining the sun shining down upon you, it is the gift of the Divine Mother, Isis, that empowers us to receive the masculine in new ways, to understand it from new perspectives. We welcome both Isis and the divine masculine into our hearts. As you gaze upon the symbol of Horus, the sun shining down upon you. And then imagining it as though the sun we gaze at is simply a mirror reflection of the sun in our hearts, burning brightly. Feel yourself as Isis holding this flame within your heart, and then dreaming it into being as the sun shining from the skies, from the heavens. Letting yourself come home. Letting yourself feel the light and the love, the forgiveness, the brilliance and the radiance, and the true stories of love everlasting. The ways in which we can reclaim our soul, ways in which we too, whether man, woman, or child, get to bring these energies into our being, bridging them, melding them together. It is the nature of partnership, and it is the nature of a partnership between both you and spirit and you, a collaboration. We are not one or the other, but we all carry the divine feminine and masculine within us. It is our nature to be outwardly and extroverted as well as inwardly introverted, to experience our spirituality externally as well as internally. It is our nature to be able to hold these flames within our hearts, within our souls, in the remembrance of the potency and the power of who we are as divine spiritual beings. And so with that, I welcome you back to your body. May this light of Isis radiate as you carry it, your body, the temple that carries her flame of hope and her creation. May it be a beautiful day.